Hi guys, Darth Deuce here, back with some more Star Wars action figure reviews. And today, taking a look at a comic pack from back from the 30th anniversary collection. As you can tell from a lot of my recent videos, I've been kind of on a Star Wars 3¾ inch grind of picking up a bunch of stuff that I missed out on. And I was able to track down a couple of comic packs that I missed out on back in the day that I was able to get fair prices for on eBay. Didn't get like crazy good deals or anything. I still paid out for them, but they were pretty reasonable deals in my opinion. And anyways, one we have here that I've been wanting to track down for a little while is the comic pack with Hett and the Dark Woman. Characters that, these two specifically, characters that appear in the old Dark Horse Star Wars run. Hett appears again in many other runs. He's in the Star Wars Republic run, as well as later on in the Star Wars Legacy as Darth Krayt. If you haven't read that story, I guess spoilers, but the comic's been out for years and years now, so if you haven't read it, it's kind of too bad. I'm not going to apologize. It's not. It's been out for a long time now. But yeah, I absolutely love comic packs. I thought they were an awesome idea back in the day. You get a comic book plus two figures that are, well, usually from the comic itself. We'll get a little bit more into that in a moment. But back then, I was a lot younger, didn't have very much funds of my own, so I didn't end up getting a ton of comic packs. I did get a few here and there from like my parents or whatnot for gifts, you know, whether it be Christmas or whatever. But I never really got any of the like high profile comic packs, I guess. But yeah, this is what the packaging looks like. You got the figures there. The comic kind of makes up the backdrop of the packaging. You have an image of a Sharad there, and then you have an image of the Dark Woman right there. On the back, you have a image of the two figures. You've got a write-up there. You can pause that and read it if you'd like. And then you have other comic packs that are available at the time. I actually do have this one. This is one of the few ones I actually had back in the day, and I still have both these figures. The Star Wars Infinities one with Jedi Leia and, I don't know, Force Vision Darth Vader, I guess. And then I don't have this one, but that one I don't really care for too much. But yeah, so anyways, I'm an opener, so we're going to crack this open and take a close look at the figures inside. And here we have the two figures out of the packaging, and a couple of really cool figures. Definitely a couple of very unique Jedi for the shelf. You know, from getting Jedi from the movies and whatnot, most of them wear pretty traditional robes and clothing, but these two are quite different. You have a Sharad who's got a tattooed face and is wearing some Tusken Raider garb. And then you have the Dark Woman who wears a lot more purples and different colors. So that's very cool. Add some varieties to the Jedi shelf. Additionally, Asharad is probably one of my favorite Legends characters. So I definitely want to have that figure specifically. But the Dark Woman's also very cool. And we're actually going to talk about her first. Let's put him off to the side. So here is the Dark Woman. From what I understand, she is called that because she renounces all attachment and pledges herself fully to the Force. So she did away with her normal name and then is called the Dark Woman because she's apparently a pretty brutal trainer when it comes to training new Padawans, which I believe includes Ashara. I think she trained him a bit. The head sculpt is pretty nice. I like the sculpt of the hair. It looks pretty cool. It's not just a stark white. It's like a off-white, I guess. But I like how that looks, and I like that they actually gave her a dynamic expression. She's gritting the teeth. She's kind of pissed off, which I think looks pretty good. I think the paint on the eyes is actually done pretty well. The mouth and then the lipstick, I think actually also looks pretty good. And figures from this day, from when this came out, could definitely be iffy. But I think this one looks pretty good. And the rest of her outfit is sculpted really nicely. You got the brown for the pants and the sleeves. Then you got purple, dark purple for most of the robe, but a little bit of light purple underneath that dark purple section. The belt looks nice and the buckles are painted silver, as well as this little detail for the buckle or whatever that's supposed to be, which is very cool. And you got the little front part of the robe, which is made of a pliable plastic. Same with the bottom part. It moves pretty easily. Then you've got the pants, like I said, and the darker brown for the boots with some nice little sculpted and painted details around the edges of the boots, which I think look pretty good. And the paint apps for the most part are pretty clean. There's not a whole lot of sloppiness going on here, so that's very cool. In terms of her articulation, this is where the Dark Woman really shows her age. She's missing a fair amount of points of articulation. She's not terribly articulated, but there's definitely some hindrances. But she does have a ball joint at the neck, so you can do, you know, actually a decent amount. It looks up actually pretty well, looks down decently, pivots and rotates, so that's good. Ball hinges at the shoulders move very well, so that's good. But no elbow articulation at all. I don't know if it's because she's a female and has thinner arms. I don't know why they decided not to give her any sort of elbow joints, but she doesn't have elbow joints. But they did at least bend the arms a bit with the sculpt to make them look fairly natural. And with the shoulder joints, you can still get some different poses, which is good. Swivels at the sleeve there, so you can swivel the wrists, swivel at the waist, a swivel at the hips, no articulation in the knees, and then I believe, yeah, ball hinges at the ankles. So no knee articulation. Again, the legs are sculpted to be kind of like in this action poise stance, I guess, this dynamic stance. So if they're not going to add articulation in these kind of areas, I do like it when they sculpt them to at least look like they're doing something. But I have to question why even bother give them articulated ankles if they're not going to articulate the knees. I've seen that on other older Star Wars figures before. I don't really get why they do it, but yeah, her articulation is definitely not up to today's standards by any means, but it's not bad. You can do some things with her, so I don't really care that much, honestly, but something to note. In terms of accessories, and actually before we go with accessories, I will say this figure is, okay, I was going to say it's hard to stand. It actually just stood up, no problem right there, but I do find you got to be a little careful with standing. But the only accessory she comes with is her lightsaber, which is probably all she really needs to come with, but she does come with a very unique lightsaber, which is cool. Completely unique sculpt hilt to her. I don't think they ever reused this sculpt. It's molded in purple with this like silver brushing over the kind of like engraving details that are on it. Very cool, ornate, different hilt, which is very cool. And the blade is a very, very, very pale violet, which is also really unique and nice to see. Mine does seem to be a little on the warp side. All the sabers that came in this pack seem to be a bit on the warp side. I'm going to try to see if I can use heat to maybe straighten them out a bit, but it is a bit risky with clear plastic. But yeah, you can actually remove the blade, I do believe. Yep, you can remove the blade. So that's a cool feature that you can do that. However, if you do get this figure, just be careful. These pegs are really, really small. It can be pretty easy to bend and break them, so you want to be careful putting them in and out. This one's pretty solid, but yeah, I've definitely had broken lightsaber blades before, so you'll want to be careful with that. But she holds it really nice and securely. You can't get two-handed poses. The arm articulation just doesn't allow for that. But she looks pretty good with it. Very cool Jedi figure. Very unique one to have in the collection. So I'm pretty happy to add her there. Also, before I forgot to mention that her left hand, it can also grip the lightsaber, but it is posed to kind of look like she's using the Force, so I always appreciate that as well. So yeah, the Dark Woman is pretty cool. And now here we're going to see, and she can't stand. She doesn't want to stand for me now. There we go. I think she's going to stand. Yep. So let's go on to the figure that I got this set for. Admittedly, it is Asharad Hett, the son of Sharad Hett, who they also did a figure of. I think I reviewed that figure a few years ago. I've had that set for a while, so I wanted to add his son to the collection. Had the two of them, and now I finally have them. And the head sculpt, itself is decent. The paint, I'm not a massive fan of, mainly with the eyes, the expression. He's got a really dead expression, very kind of almost, because the way they paint the eyes, almost like stunned expression, which I don't think fits the character very well. The tattoos are done very well, and the sculpt and paint on the hair for the most part is done pretty well. I like that. The ponytail looks really nice. I like that a lot too. It's just the expression doesn't look good, so that's a bit unfortunate. It does have this scarf piece, which is cool. Adds a bit more of extra stuff with that Tuscan feeling. The robes are mainly a dark brown, then some light brown elements, which is very nice. The belt here painted really well with dark brown, and then you've got a lot of silver for the different details and buckles, which is very cool. He's got very Tuscan-like wraps around his wrists, and then wearing some gloves there. And then you have the legs, which have more tanner pants with the wrappings around the feet. Again, some more of his Tuscan heritage there, which is very cool. I always like the idea of kind of human Tuscan Raiders who were Jedi as well. It's a cool concept. But interestingly enough, that the comic, he looks different in the comic. Look is based on how he appears in the Star Wars Republic run of comics, I do believe, when he's a Jedi Master. And in the comic that this set comes with, he looks a lot different. He's got red-bladed lightsabers. He's got a more Tuscan look than this one, which is kind of strange that they did that. But I would say this is the more iconic look for Asharad when he was a Jedi, so I don't mind it. Yeah, very cool looking figure. Articulation-wise, he's a bit better than the Dark Woman, but still definitely shows its age a bit. He has a swivel at the neck, ball hinge at the shoulders move pretty well, swivel cut elbows, swivels at the cuffs of his wraps, I guess, swivel waist, swivel hips that are pretty hindered because this lower plastic robe does not move very well, so you don't get a ton of movement there. Ball hinges at the knees, which actually go about halfway, or 90 rather, and then no articulation in the ankles. The ankles are sculpted to be a bit bent so that, again, he is in a natural-like position, not just standing straight up and down, so that is good. But again, with ankles molded like this and with the legs not being able to move much anyways due to the lower robe, I kind of wonder why they even bothered giving him articulated knees, but I'm not going to complain about extra articulation. So he poses definitely a bit better than the Dark Woman, but he is definitely a bit aged. But that's okay. You can still do some decent stuff with him. In terms of accessories, he comes with a fair amount of stuff. He does come with his Tusken Raider mask, which is right here. Has some nice paint apps on it. The wraps, the sculpt of the wraps are good, and it's got a excuse me, opening for his ponytail, so you can put that on him. Ponytail goes through that, no problem. Mine's a little on the warp side. I might have to try to take heat to this as well, but that does look good. I'm actually probably going to display him with the Tusken Raider mask on, just because I think it looks a bit better than the paint on the face. I like that a lot. Comes with his lightsabers. You get the just standard lightsaber. I think we've seen this sculpt of hilt many, many times, but it works here. It's painted silver with some black details. Nice green blade. You can put this in his hand. Either hand can grip the lightsabers. So there we go. Put that in hand like that. You also get his other lightsaber, which might be his father's. I actually am not sure. One of these is his father's. I'm not sure which one it is. But this one's a lot more unique. It's got this like leather wrap on the grip. It's got like these teeth or something hanging down on some beads at the end, which is very cool. Again, green blade. This one's actually a little lighter of a green than that one. You can actually remove the blade on this one as well. It also has a peg, and he has a hole in his belt, so you can, if I can plug this on his belt if you want. So that's kind of cool, although it makes no sense that the beads would be sticking upright, so you might want to flip it around the other way, I guess, if you're going to display it like that. But the weapon storage is cool. Again, to be careful with the removable blades, but he can hold this one fine. The grip on this lightsaber is massive, I'll be honest. But yeah, there he has his two lightsabers, which look super cool. He comes with one other accessory, though, and it is half of a gaffy stick. And it's half because it doesn't have the little like pointy hammer bit on it. It's just got the stabby bit on it. But it's painted in this nice, or molded in this nice bronze color with some brown for this grip here. But what's interesting is it has a peg. And the only thing I can think of is that you can take the blade out of his saber hilt and put the gaffy stick like that, and then it kind of makes a makeshift like custom gaffy stick, I guess. Kind of cool, kind of weird. I don't think he ever does this in the comic books. I would have just preferred just a straight up normal gaffy stick with the hammer end on it, because this is just odd. But I don't know, cool feature. And if you wanted to have him just wield it on its own, you can do that. But yeah, really nice figure. Looks great, has a bunch of accessories. Articulation's okay. It's not amazing, but it's okay. So yeah, overall, a very cool set. Two very cool and unique Jedi to add to the shelf, add to the Jedi collection, which I'm happy to do. And Asharad is one of my favorites, so very happy to finally add him to the collection. So really quick, I'll do a couple little comparisons. We're going to do it with Asharad because there's really no one to compare like the Dark Woman to. She has never had another figure before, so if you want a figure of the Dark Woman, this is the only way you can do it. Same thing with Asharad, at least as he looks here. But here he is with his father, Sharad Hett, and they look very good together. I actually thought that Sharad, because I think Sharad came out after, I thought he would reuse some bits from Asharad, but I actually think the arms might be reuse. Yeah, I think maybe the arms are reuse. And I think maybe the legs are reuse. Oh man, I think in the end, I think the lower robes reuse as well. So they reuse some parts. I think the arms, lower robes, and legs are reuse on these two figures. Then the heads, the Tusken masks, and the torsos are new pieces. but that's okay. They're supposed to look like this, so I think that works really well. Although for Sherrod coming out afterwards, I would have been kind of cool if they would have upgraded his articulation, but that's okay. And then taking Sherrod out, here he is, his very future self, the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Krayt from Star Wars Legacy. So you can see them together. And then if we want to take a look at the head sculpts and take his helmet off, and take his hat off, or whatever, his mask. Get them oriented here. There we go. You can kind of see the two different faces. You can definitely tell they're the same person. I think the Darth Krayt head sculpt and face looks a lot better though. But yeah, you can definitely tell. Very old, very young. And I'm very happy to have these two guys. I've had Krayt for like a year or so now, which is one of my Grail figures for a long time. And now I'm very happy to finally add a Sherrod as his Jedi form to the collection now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I've droned on about this one for a while. I apologize for taking kind of a long time for this one, but very cool set of figures. I think if you shop around on eBay or on like buy and sell websites, I think you may eventually be able to find like pretty decent deals on this one. Sometimes you can find them going for a bit cheaper. I think I paid, just over $100 Canadian for these guys with shipping, I think. So I think that was relatively reasonable. I see a Sherrod go for around 50 USD, and I see the Dark Woman go for around 30 to 40 USD. So I think that's a pretty good deal. Reasonable deal anyways. But if you can find them for a good price, you don't have them, you're familiar with the characters, then I'd highly recommend picking them up. They're very unique Jedi to add to the shelf, and very cool characters. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next video. May the Force be with you.